कि सर पे टोपी है, मत कहो कि सर पे टोपी है, कहो सर पे हमारे ताज है, कहो सर पे हमारे ताज है, ये चमन हमारा अपना है।
We would do an icebreaker. Has anyone played and a lie? No? Okay, so I'm going to tell you 3 statements. 2 of those are true and 1 of them is a lie. Whoever guesses the lie first will get a prize. Okay, so the first statement, I'm half Pakistani and half American.
Never.
The second one is Abdul is a doctor. And the third statement is we both love our jobs.
Perfectly all right. Agree.
Last one is true.
Agree. True.
No, so which is the lie?
We're looking for the lie.
Yeah, it's not
I'm a doctor.
First guy.
I'm not a doctor. Pakistani guy. Pakistani and who?
Pakistani and
First.
That is correct. I am not. I'm 100% Pakistani.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Why was everyone so confused that he was a doctor? He is a doctor.
Yeah, that's my daughter, and I'm a father of 4 kids, so that was one of the other ones that were taken. So once again, thank you everyone for giving us this opportunity. Really, this the presentation that we have today has been divided into 2 portions. So the first portion is what you have kind of received, a way to a better, healthier you. We often hear about wellness and stuff like that. So what we have done is, there is a short video after this. Unfortunately, we don't have the audio-visual system to connect. So hopefully, you can hear, but the video will make sense in terms of what often happens. Many a times we have got a lot of noble thoughts, a lot of noble ideas of what to do, but we are caught for certain things that happen, and this is what we are going to do. And the sheets in front of you are actually from it's a tool that has been developed by the Princeton University, and we will explain what the purpose of it is and how it can benefit us both. So we are going to start with a story of a bricklayer, and this bricklayer filed a claim in the insurance company, and when he was told how did this happen, he just couldn't explain. So he said it needs a lot of explanation, and the cause of accident was poor blood. So let's see what he actually means by that.
Dear sir, I am writing in response to your request for additional information in Block 3 of the Accident Report Form. I trust the following details will be sufficient. I am a bricklayer by trade. On the day of the accident, I was working alone on the roof of a new 5-story building. When I completed my work, I found I had approximately 500 pounds of bricks left over. Rather than carry the bricks down by hand, I decided to lower them in a barrel by using a pulley. Securing the roof at ground level, I went up to the roof, swung the barrel out, and moved the bricks into it. Then I went down and untied the rope, holding it tightly to ensure a slow descent of the bricks. You will note in Block 11 of the accident report form that I weigh 135 pounds. my surprise at being jerked off the ground so suddenly, I lost my presence of mind and forgot to let go of the rope. Needless to say, I proceeded at a rapid rate up the side of the building. Meanwhile, the barrel proceeded downward. In the vicinity of the third floor, I met the barrel.
So you can imagine what ended up happening thereafter, right? Poor plan. Sorry?
The barrel smashed and split the roof.
That's exactly like what happened. And he continued, the barrel smashed, so again his weight, so he fell, and that was his end. However, the moral of this is, often we may have a great idea, or we think we want to do something, we want to exercise, we want to eat healthy, we want to socialize with friends, we want to better manage stress, but what happens is we are only focusing on one aspect and not considering the other facets or the other dimensions that could potentially derail us. Every year I give my own example. At the beginning of the year, I'll be like, I want to do this A, B, C, D, E. Come 31st of December, nothing has happened. And like one of my goal is like weight loss, eating healthy. Just never happens. We know with our culture and everything, festivities, whatnot, rice is very staple, dessert, gulab jamun, whatnot, you can't resist. Everybody else is eating around you, you say, okay, आज ले लेता हूँ, exercise कल से शुरू होगी, and then कल never comes. And one of the reasons is, it's because many a times we don't, look at every aspect or every dimension that affects our wellness. And so this is just a quick introduction about myself. I'm a doctor by profession, specializing in area of senior wellness. And one of the biggest thing that draws me in this particular space is cultural competency. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later on, but just a brief sort of a hint to it is, I used to work for the Ministry of Health, and one of the things that I noticed is when we talk of accessibility to care, when we compare our ethnic societies, the Southeast Asian population, we lag behind pretty much in every metric, especially for accessibility. And this is what has drawn us to kind of be advocates to bridge a gap that we felt was there in the community at large. So when we talk about wellness, what do we really mean? It's often misunderstood, but what wellness is, it's not merely the absence of a condition or a disease or something. It's more about conscious living, thinking everything, how it's going to affect us, how it can be, whatever decision we make, how is it going to impact us further down the line. And there is nothing like, there is a particular age, okay, I should stop at retirement or at a particular, it's actually a continuous way of living. So the tool that you have before you looks at the 7 dimensions. Now, what we need to do is, if it's a more of a self-reflection tool, if you can score your own self in these different areas, emotional, environmental, intellectual, occupational, physical, social, and spiritual, it will help you to identify gaps in your overall well-being, holistic well-being, and maybe help you to make some goals that you want to do. And why are these all really important? Emotional, we all understand it's kind of like self-explanatory, but we live in a society, the reality is we are all far and away from our home where we kind of like, were born, raised, grew up. We have moved to this country now, this is our home, but still there is that nestling effect. A bird can go as far as it wants. Today, what is bringing us together, it's our common language, it's our common heritage, it's our common food, it's our common liking. So as we age, we start to appreciate culture. I know like my kids don't appreciate culture right now, but the reality is when they will be in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they will start to appreciate what our forefathers, what our ancestors kind of used to do. I never used to like old Hindi songs. When my dad used to play, I was like, why are you listening to Raj Kapoor? Today, those are my favorite songs. Because now I can relate to those songs. They mean so much. They carry so much emotions. So now it's all relatable. So this is what it is. Looking at different areas, intellectual wellness. I'm happy to say that Alhamdulillah, God willing, that we all tend to be quite well in mathematics and other skills. So when it comes to the Indian population at large, the Southeast Asian population, our dementia comes in at a much later stage, but we can further delay the onset. None of us is going to be protected from the reality of aging, but what we can do is we can delay a lot of chronic conditions, a lot of dementias and stuff to a later stage, or if we have those conditions, we can prevent the progression of those conditions. Social wellness, we often see a lot of people feel very social isolated. The size of families is reducing. My granddad had 9 kids, my dad, the number is sort of reducing. The number of caretakers is automatically reducing, and just looking at our geographical area, some people have got family, they're living in Mississauga, they've got their daughter or son married and living in on the other part, Pickering, Oshawa. It becomes very difficult to sort of commute and break those distances, so they feel very socially isolated. So these are the different areas of the dimensions of wellness. So what I'm going to request is, before we continue, if you could each please just take 5 minutes of your time. You don't need to share, disclose, or give the sheets back to us. It's more so for your own self-reflection. Identify areas that you feel you could improve on. That's the best way I can say. So let's take just a quick 5-minute break, and then we'll continue on with the presentation and talk about which, before we get to any destination that we want, it's important to know where we are. So what we are currently doing is doing the assessment of where we stand today. And then this tool is readily available. We can email the copy. You can gauge yourselves every 6 months, every 12 months, just to see, are you progressing and is your score improving thereafter. So please take some time, if you can fill those in, and then we'll continue thereafter.
Lights on.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
I am new, so I have no idea where the lights are, but I will try my best.
सुभाष जी लाइट ऑन कर देना.
Are these the ones?
Lights on.
Thank you. Thank you. Fatima, Mirza, do you like that?
I'm good.
बीच में हिंच
More Bollywood movies.
So I see that most people are now seated back. So I'm guessing that almost everyone is done. This you can fill out after you have done the score. You can take the sheets home and sort of reflect on some of the goals that you want to work on and the actions that you want to do, right? Perfect. So we can continue with our presentation. So as you can see that, small changes, miracles don't happen overnight. Rome was not built in a day. So if we want to do any of those changes, and make our life and bring about the wellness in our life, it's not going to happen overnight. It's a small change, but it's a journey, right? And you don't need to be alone in this journey. This is the opportunity where I will take to introduce the company that we have started. It's called Arcavia Home Care. Our motto is a way to better living. So what is Arcavia Home Care? Who we are? Why did we form? There are 3,000 home care agencies in Ontario. 3,000. But despite that 3,000, why is it that we decided to get into this space? As we speak, Ontario has got one of the highest population of seniors in Canada. 16% of the population, as we speak, is seniors, And as the baby boomers continue to age, we will be seeing a higher number of seniors, sort of like get over the age of like 65. One of the challenges that we are facing is a lot of these seniors are trying to navigate healthcare. What needs to be done? Do I need to continue to live in the home that I'm living? Do I need to downsize? What are the options that I have? Many of us are blessed with maybe like caring, children, caring like daughter-in-laws, son-in-laws, but not everyone is as fortunate. So what about those individuals? What are their options? And many times you'll hear things like retirement living, assisted living, memory care, long-term care. What are all these and what do they entail? So this is a spectrum of all the options that we have in this province. But if we look at the price, independent living, if you gave a call to Jagwal right now, and if you wanted to live in Mississauga, the rent is starting for a studio apartment per person at $9,000. Now you go to an assisted living facility, it's $9,000 plus your care needs, it can easily be about $14,000, $15,000, $16,000 a month. By the way, these are all monthly. Memory care, it can be about $17,500 all the way to $22,000. There is a 2-year wait list. Long-term care. Long-term care can either be regulated by the government, where you pay $2,800 a month, or you can go to private nursing homes, many of which are south of the border in the US. They start from $25,000 up to $50,000 US a month. Now, a month. These are prices per month.
Are you going to give us the copy of the presentation?
Yes, we can send that. So, in long-term care, there are 70,000 long-term care beds here in Ontario, but there are 50,000 people on the wait list. Now, during COVID, we all heard all the nasty things about what the long-term care presented. The reality is that there is very limited money that the government gives to the operators. I'll just give an example. To make food, the government gives you $9 a day. I don't blame, like as much as I want to blame the operators of the facilities, if you're given $9 a day to make food for the people who are living with you, you're not going to be able to make certain dishes. You will try to keep everything as bland as possible, because entities are profit driven, right? They all want to make a healthy bottom line to give to their shareholders. This unfortunately is a conflict of interest to what medically we want to provide the best care, we want to provide the best food and everything, but there is a constraint. If the income is of a family is only 10,000, their needs could be 15, they'll have to find ways of how to cut and to kind of like make their ends meet. So a solution to one of these is home care. Home care is a lot more valuable than what people deem it to be. It is at a fraction of a cost. It's very affordable, unlike any of the other facility-based care, and it has far greater health outcomes. Within 6 months of moving to a long-term care home, 90% of the people end up being either bedridden or totally depressed, because it's a very depressing environment. May God protect us all from not having to go there until and unless if it's an absolute necessity. So, why is it important? Choosing the right care, whether it is assisted living, memory care, long-term care, or being at home, it's actually going to prevent an individual from worsening and continuing to remain as independent as possible in their own facility or within their own ability. So choosing care is very, very critical. The other thing is, we could have family caregivers, but that doesn't mean that they have the skills to take care of the condition that we would be going through. If you look, or if you ever get a chance, if you see how a nurse or a personal support worker carries an individual out of the bed versus a family member, there is a higher risk for the family member to dislocate the shoulder. So, we say from frying pan into fire. So sometimes a smaller expense is better than incurring a greater expense of having to have surgeries and whatnot done. So the next is just a quick video about Arcavia home care, and then we will continue to talk about a little bit about why we formed and what we want to do before Fatima takes over and talks about the services and the meets that surround it. So, one of the things you must have noticed in the videos, सब लोग गोरे थे, hardly any Indians, right? Or hardly any like Southeast Asian people. This is one of the biggest gaps that we noticed. There is not any service that is dedicated
This
to
is
meet
what I
the
was going
needs.
to ask. South Asian.
So we wanted to do, we wanted photographs, we wanted videos, we connected with people in India to see if we could get videos that would connect, because relatability is very important. You'll be surprised whether you, even on the internet, when it comes to healthcare and everything, we are grossly underrepresented despite having some of the best nurses, some of the best doctors, some of the best pharmacists, you name it. Our culture has some of the best of those, yet when it comes to accessing healthcare, we are one of the least. And partly it's of course due to like natural fear. I look at myself, the moment I hear a doctor's name, I'm like panicking. Despite being one myself, it just sends like shivers down the spine. So what generally happens is we tend to delay and go to seek medical assistance at a very later stage, when prevention is better than cure, but we go to the stage when now we need the cure. So a little bit about ourselves and our services. One of the things that is driving us is the culture. What we are very much culturally driven. Our values are what have been instilled by our parents of respecting the elders, respecting people around us. So all this is very critical to us. One thing that we do is, in order not to sort of appear as people trying to cut corners, when we are hiring our staff, be it the nurses, be it personal support workers, Fatima is the one who leads that, and one of the questions that we ask is, would we entrust ourselves or our parents to this individual? We only bring them on board once we feel very confident that yes, they are somebody that we could entrust, and thereafter we have our in-house training on culture and stuff like that. Because I give a very simple example. Continence care is very different in different ethnicities, right? We have also one of the first companies to introduce culturally competent care. Now this is where the biggest gap has been in the industry. When you have a PSW to come and cook meal for your parents, but they don't know what bindi is, they don't know what korma is, they are just cooking the blandest of food for the seniors because that's what they've been taught in colleges. You can imagine, like, the person is not enjoying. I mean, what's the purpose of living when you can't even enjoy the blessings that God has given us? So, for that we formed Al Hayat Care and Aziz Care. Having said that, we want to walk the talk. So all the content that we create, if you go to our website, you will see it's in Hindi, it's in Urdu, it's in Spanish, it's in Punjabi, and we create our videos as well to meet the needs. So these are just two examples of the videos that we have that we try to circulate. At this point, I will stress one thing. Community support is very important. Despite us doing all this, we have only 3 Indian clients. Everyone else is a white client. Despite all the efforts, we are really advocating to the ministry that we need more support and stuff for our community, but we are just told you can take a horse to to the water, but if it doesn't want to drink, what can we do? All the resources, everything is available. We are giving you the opportunity. You prove to us. So really today's presentation is to pass on that information, but to really also request if you could be our advocates and spread that word out to the community about us, so that people can utilize. Others are really taking advantage of what we have, but yet our own are missing out on something that we have created and tailor-made for themselves.
ਜਦੋਂ ਗੱਲ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਕੇਅਰ ਦੀ ਹੋਵੇ, ਘਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਿਲਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਸੁਵਿਧਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਭੁੱਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ? ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਐਕਸਟਰਾ ਹੈਲਪ ਲਈ ਅਸੀਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਹਾਂ Arcavia ਹੋਮ ਕੇਅਰ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਅਲੱਗ-ਅਲੱਗ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਹੋਮ ਕੇਅਰ ਸੁਵਿਧਾਵਾਂ ਪੂਰੇ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਵਿੱਚ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਏਗੀ। ਹੋਮ ਕੇਅਰ ਦੀ ਸੁਵਿਧਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ 24 ਘੰਟੇ 7 ਦਿਨ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਹਫ਼ਤੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਘੰਟਿਆਂ ਲਈ ਵੀ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਸਾਡੇ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਫੁੱਲੀ ਟ੍ਰੇਨਡ ਸਟਾਫ ਮੈਂਬਰਸ ਪੂਰੀ ਕਮਿਟਮੈਂਟ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਨੂੰ ਪੂਰਾ ਕਰਨਗੇ। Arcavia ਹੋਮ ਕੇਅਰ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਵੈਬਸਾਈਟ www.arcavia.ca ਤੇ ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਨੰਬਰ 4377478000 ਤੇ ਕਾਲ करके होम केयर सुविधाओं का लाभ उठा सकते हो।
जब बात हो सुकून की, तो आपके घर से ज्यादा गर्मजोश और बासहूलत जगह कोई नहीं। लेकिन उस वक्त का क्या जब आपको मजीद देखभाल की जरूरत हो? हम आर्केविया होम केयर पूरे ओंटारियो में मुख्तलिफ इक़साम के ज़ाती मूल्य की घरेलू देखभाल की खदमात मुहैया करते हैं। चाहे मुकम्मल वक्त हो या हफ्ते में कुछ घंटों के लिए, हमारा पुरअज़्म अमला आपकी ज़रूरियात को हमदर्दी, मेहरबानी और बावकार तरीके से हल करने के लिए हमेशा तैयार है। लिहाजा आपकी किसी भी तरह की जरूरत हो, विजिट करें arcavia.ca या अपनी देखभाल को घर लाने के लिए कॉल करें 437-747-8000।
So after this, I'm going to hand it over to Fatima. But what I'm going to request is we will be sending. We create all these videos, right? So we will be sending those videos. If you could help us through each of your WhatsApp networks, through any network, to spread the word, so at least it can go far and wide. And we really want to, personally, I want to take this opportunity to thank for all of you to give us this opportunity to be here in front of you and to present a little bit about what we do. So Fatima is going to take over to continue towards the end, and then finally I will talk about some of the other progress and development that we are kind of doing, advocating for our community, and what are some of the things, because I kind of heard about the nursing home, so we will talk a little bit about that towards the end.
Thank you.
Where are you located?
So our office is in Oakville, but we provide services all across Ontario.
No, here on the brochure. Brochure in the end.
So we do have extra brochures. If you can please take some extra and even spread, give to your friends and family.
Okay, so everyone has different needs, right? Some of us have, issues because we're alone all the time and our kids have moved away. Some of us have issues because we have a medical issue where we can't clean up, and then some of us are just, alone sometimes. So we have all different types of services because everyone's needs are different.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
What is the cost, right, for every service has different rate?
Yeah, we're going to get to the cost.
So we do have costs at the end, and we'll kind of talk about the range in terms of what others are charging and what we kind of are charging. Fatima, you want to continue?
Yeah, so obviously there's some advantages to hiring a home care company. So increased satisfaction with life, dignity, independence, and comfort, right? So you get to live in your home with somebody who's helping you and supporting you. So you're staying out of hospitals, you're taking your medication on time, so we're not getting as injured. Promoting healing and prevention of cognitive decline. So a lot of our PSWs play memory games with our seniors. They take them out for walks and senior programs. Decreased hospitalization and urgent care use. A lot of it is safety. So elders are falling in the home. They're not able to get out of bed, so they're rolling and they're having accidents. So if you have a PSW who's available who can take care of those needs, we've definitely decreased the risk. A better understanding of a patient's environments and needs, and easier access to care and support for family caregivers. So there's a bunch of myths of home care. I have another prize. Does anyone have any ideas of what one of the myths could be? Myths, like myths होती हैं जो चीजें जो हमें जो झूठ होती हैं, जो हमें लगता है सही होती हैं लेकिन वो सही नहीं होती. My Hindi is not good, everybody, so please bear with me. किसी को पता है कोई what's one myth? Yeah, that is one of them. And then
What she said?
Yeah.
What she said? What she said?
Very well, but you know sometimes my mother
Repeat
was
it.
a doctor.
Repeat it. What she
What she said?
Very lonely.
What she said?
Still you feel very lonely.
Of course, of
Even
course.
in the home care, the older people they feel lonely.
Yeah, so it's not going to fit my needs.
I will just tell you why, because one nurse has 8 to 9 residents to look after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you have a private care, you have only one person to take care. So when you have 8, 9 residents to take care, you cannot give a personal.
You think that at home they feel lonely, but
Even in senior homes, they do feel
they
lonely.
feel very lonely.
What she said?
She said it's too expensive.
Yeah.
And that is a myth. Some people believe that if you can give to this beautiful lady.
You are charging a lot of money, but you are not giving the good servicing.
So we will talk about that as well, because what often happens, so we will explain all how home care works here within like Ontario and what the common misconception is. And what you say is right, like there are companies that are charging a lot of money. That's no doubt, like they are in the business. It's one of the most lucrative businesses. It's one of the most profitable businesses.
You know what I am saying, even in government long care,
They are
don't
very
charge
lonely.
much. But my mother, she was feeling very lonely.
Very lonely.
In the morning, my brother used to go. In the
Evening,
daytime, I was going. And
So,
in the evening, I was
so
going.
now that you
So
mention
they take
it,
care.
let me mention about long-term care. So in long-term care,
On top of that, they don't take.
2800 लोग पे करते हैं एज रेंट, ठीक है ना. उसमें आपको सब सर्विसेज मिलते हैं, खाना मिलता है, लाइक क्लीनिंग मिलती है. बट जो ऑपरेटर होते हैं, गवर्नमेंट उन लोगों को 20 मिनट के पैसे देती है टू टेक केयर ऑफ यू फॉर 20 मिनट्स. 24 घंटे में they only give money for 20 minutes. In that 20 minutes, the caregiver has to shower you. They have to clean you. If you go to the washroom, they have to feed you and they have to put you to bed. So वो लोग क्या करते हैं, अगर लॉन्ग टर्म केयर में आप जाते हैं, एक एरिया में 32 रेसिडेंट्स होते हैं. उस 32 रेसिडेंट्स के लिए नाइट टाइम एक स्टाफ होता है, वो 32 स्टाफ 12 घंटे की ड्यूटी होती है. So what do they do? Just go in the room, next, क्योंकि अगर वो नहीं करते, अगर वो चेक नहीं करते कि हाँ, और सिर्फ आते फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू वांट शावर, नहीं मुझे शावर नहीं करना, ओके ठीक, मैंने उसको पूछ लिया, उसको शावर नहीं करना क्योंकि उसका शावर का दिन है ट्यूसडेज एंड वेडनेसडे, लाइक ट्यूसडेज एंड थर्सडेज. तो मैंने ट्यूसडे को आया, यू वांट शावर, नो, ओके डन. दिस वीक का ट्यूसडे
बहुत जल्दी
एग्जैक्टली. There is nothing like that. And then 32 log, there is one shower shared between 32 people. 32 residents.
Your home care is private or?
Home care government होती है और private.
फिर आपका कौन सा?
प्राइवेट में लेना उतने पैसे खर्च उतना बढ़िया मिल जाएगा.
Yeah. वो कहावत है ना, पैसा फेंको तमाशा देखो, right? The more you are ready to spend, the better everything kind of like works.
See, I was a nurse actually, and what was that? In the morning time, we used to have a 10 residents, and evening we used to have a 14 residents to take care. Night time we used to have only one
nurse.
So you know, you have to understand. We have to finish our duties.
Exactly.
Around like one nurse, patient is calling there, the other one is ringing the bell. So we have
You have to run everywhere.
So you need a private nurse who can give you
all the attention. So we will continue. So you got it correct. Anybody else, like some of the other mates that are there?
Are undependable. You cannot trust them. They are undependable.
They are
say something, but they don't do that. I mean, the way
And that's true. A lot of companies, yes, a lot of companies, especially these government funded, will say, we'll provide you somebody that speaks Hindi, but then they can't.
my mother is 93 and I see that every day.
Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of you with your parents have dealt with situations like this.
So we will go through the first one.
Okay, so the first myth, जो लोगों को लगता है कि it won't be a good fit for my needs. So at Arcavia, we talk about three things: health, well-being, and your home. So caring for your health through medication management, grooming, dressing, support, bathing, and sometimes a lot of people have physio, so doing those physio exercises to make sure you're active and healthy. And then we also want to talk about well-being, so caring for your well-being. So going to social clubs, you know, how did many of you get here today, right? Did somebody come with you? Arranging enjoyable outings, going to the hairdresser, even the groceries, doctor's appointments. And then caring for your home was the last one. So cleaning up, meal prep, feeding. Okay, so the second myth is it's a sign of decline. कि मैं बीमार हो गई हूँ, इसलिए मुझे ये ज़रूरत है. But that's not true. It's never easy admitting that you need help, but it's not always a sign of decline. Sometimes I have a cleaning person that comes to my house because I have 2 kids, and that doesn't mean that I can't do it. That just means that I need help so that I can spend more time with my children. So just like this, so you guys can have more time spending, you know, with your family and doing fun projects. Number 3 is I'll lose my independence. So in-home care is meant to enhance your independence. So you have more time and you have support to do the things that you love. Number 4 is it's only for people whose families are not around. So I think हमें ये लगता है कि हमारी like बेटी है, हमारा बेटा है, वो हमारा like ख्याल रख लेंगे. But बेटी and beta are busy too. So every family is different. Some live nearby, some live overseas, and some are very busy. So even if your family is close, sometimes, you know, a lot of the reason I'm here today is because when my grandmother was sick, I called everywhere. And I said, can you provide somebody who speaks Urdu? And they said yes. And one day they sent somebody, and next day they sent somebody who speaks Spanish, and the next day they sent someone who doesn't speak even English. So, but my grandma only used to speak Urdu, so she couldn't communicate, and she was very uncomfortable changing in front of somebody, right? So now every day somebody new is coming to give her a shower, and she didn't feel comfortable, right? So I called, and there was no services that could give us and then I said, oh, can you make her some food? So then I called later, I checked, did my grandma eat? No. What did they make her? Grilled cheese. She's not gonna eat a grilled cheese. She wants some dal, she wants jawal. So unfortunately, there was nobody that could meet the needs of my grandmother, and I thought there's so many other people who are looking for that cultural competency part. And then the last one, which is mentioned already, it's too expensive. So home care continues to remain the cheapest cost. You guys saw the list that AK had before. Compared to retirement living, assisted living, memory care, it's a much cheaper option. And right now we're providing an all-time low cost for our new clients with our introductory rate of $32 an hour.
And how much minimum hours you need?
So generally the service most people need is about 2 visits of 4 hours each. That's adequate for many people. So that's 8 hours sort of like on a weekly basis. I just want to keep as an anchor, we deliberately highlighted this part of $32 because you can give a call to any home care agency, and if this rate, if you can get a rate lower than that, our next rate is going to, we promise you, we will, whatever rate they're giving you, we will do it less 10%. This is how confident we are, because after COVID, the rates of home care services has gone through the roof. They used to be in the ballpark of 35 to 40. Right now they are in the ballpark of up to like $65 an hour. So a lot of hospital people are trying to avoid taking these services. We are a for-profit organization, but we are not profit-driven. What we want to do is we want to help the community. Our founders, our investors want to give back to the community that they feel has given a lot to them. So this is something that we are offering. Having said that, if you are eligible for government-funded services, that is 100% free. But the government, if they will do your assessment, if आपको 20 घंटे की ज़रूरत है, remember, because it's a free service and there are so many people around all of Ontario, इतनी shortage है, वो आपको 4 घंटे देंगी, maximum आपको 8 घंटे देंगी. आपको कहेगी कि आपकी ज़रूरत 20 घंटे की है, जो 12 घंटे आप जाओ, find something else.
And हम ये नहीं कह रहे कि आप government वाली ना लें. We want you to have those too.
Take that,
right?
exactly. So it's very essential for you to explore. And if you come to us and you tell us, okay, guide us how we would do, we will not tell you to use all our services. We'll first try to see, are you eligible for government funded services? Out of 20 hours, if you're eligible for 10, 12, 14, 15 hours, by all means, because why pay for, when you have paid tax to this country, so why not get the benefit out of it? But that difference that is there, the delta that is there of 5, 6, 7 hours, you can take services from us. We have Punjabi speaking caregivers, we have got Hindi speaking caregivers, we have got Urdu speaking caregivers. They know how to make food, Indian food that you would be able to relate to. They will be able to put on music. We heard about somebody, a senior person, just was complaining to their kids that every day this Filipino lady comes in and she puts on Filipino music. I feel totally out of place. And that's the reality of what happens on the front line. And we want your feedback. If you use our service, if you feel any areas of improvement, let us know, because our whole purpose and mandate is to be able to better serve our community. Now, the final tail end of it.
Simple question, sir.
Sure.
What is included in the $32 an hour?
So $32, अगर your personal support है, then based on your needs, for example, हर एक इंसान की ज़रूरत different होती है. किसी को, they need assistance for chopping food, like let's say meal preparation, उन लोगों की ज़रूरत है. किसी को they need help with cleaning up the house. There is a difference between light housekeeping, which is part of what we are able to provide within personal support, and people mistaken us and they'll be like, okay, we are moving out of the house, pura house clean karna hai. No, that is janitorial services. That's very different than what we do. हमारा काम क्या है? For example, कोई resident है, उसकी laundry करनी है, उसका kitchen clean करना है, और किसी को personal support है, they need help shower.
ये चमन हमारा